All right, so now we have a character who is in the scene, has a rigid body and a collider, so it'll fall. But we don't have anything for it to land on. So let's go ahead and add a floor. So in your asset folder, go to sprites. I'm going to go for forest or fantasy forest NA. And here you can actually see a mock-up of the kind of artwork that we have available to us. So we do have other things that you could use instead. So maybe you wanted to go for fantasy platformer props and use some of these. So it looks like this is just props. You have some monsters. There's different tile sets for different kinds of zones. Any of these will more or less be the same, but I'm going to go ahead and stick with the Fantasy Forest NA. We can actually see in the mock-up, it actually uses that same character. So nice and convenient. All right, if we go in here to tiles, you're going to see tile set and tile examples. So tile set examples, this just shows how we can connect different things together. But the tile set itself, this has a bunch of parts that we get to use in our game that we can connect and arrange to build our level. So I'm going to go ahead and select my tile set. I will modify the pixels per unit to 32. Set the filter mode to point no filter, then click apply. Now it looks like it tried cutting out the sprite sheet for us, but it's not really didn't really do that great of a job. So I'm going to go ahead and open up the sprite editor. And now we have to cut this out. So there's little lines that are around everything, but they're not really showing what we need it to do. So I'm going to go ahead and select everything. Just hold the mouse button down, select everything, hit delete. Looks like I'm going to have to do it manually. All right, so we have no more of those little lines around it. Now we need to cut some things out. So I'm going to go ahead and first click apply. We got rid of everything there. Then we could go through and manually draw out and cut out the different sprites. But honestly, that's annoying. I don't want to do that. We luckily can use slice. So if we go up to the top and click slice, there's automatic, pivot, and different things we can do. So automatic will just do its best to cut it out, and it did the exact same thing. Didn't really work. Undo. Instead, what I'll do is I will go by grid by cell size. We then define how big these slices should be, and I'll do 16 by 16. That means each one of these cells is 16 units. We select our pivot, which will leave a center, and that looks pretty good. I'll go ahead and click slice. This now cut out all of our different parts into fancy little easy to use patterns for us to work with. One exception here is this bridge. These shouldn't be different cells. So instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to select these bottom ones and hit delete. And I'll take the one that's up there up top, and I'm going to increase the height to 32. Bring it down by 16 to 112. That seemed to do it. The same thing here. So now the bridge is cut out where I have the post and then the actual floor of the bridge and then the other posts to work with. Now we could go through and name each one of these, which probably would be a good call. So for instance, I'll select this left bridge and I'll name it bridge left. I'll take this middle one and name it bridge center. And this right one I'll call bridge right. And not perfect, but for now I'm going to go ahead and leave this as is. because we'll probably end up going in here and changing this as we go. So as we use the tile set, we'll define the name of it. All right, now go ahead and click apply at the top. And we now have our tile set cut out for us. So I can take any one of these and drag this into our scene. So I'm going to go ahead and grab tile set 3 and drag this into my scene. So I now have a sprite that I can use as ground. I'll take this and I'm going to line up where I want it to be. Then I'm going to go ahead and add in a box collider 2D. But now I have collider on this. So if I press play, my character should fall and land right on it. And there we go. We can't move or do anything yet, but we have ground. Now I can take this tile and I'm going to go ahead and duplicate it. And now I have 2 of them, and I'm going to get it lined up right next to it. So this is at X of, I'll do X0, and I'll call this one X of 0.5. Yeah. I'll duplicate this again, and I'll set this to X of 0.5. And then I'll duplicate this again. I'll set this to -1. And now I have a ground. Press play. I now have a start of a level. And I now have a ground to work with. The issue is going through and doing this and dragging each one of these in there and trying to get it lined up perfectly. And then, oh, I don't have a box collider on this one yet, and all that stuff. That would get real annoying. So instead, what we're going to do is we're going to use something called a tile map, which we'll get to in the next video.